So Markus, my next question for you, based on a little bit of, we actually got into it before the interview even started, and it made me realize how important it is to ask this question right off the bat. You say you consider yourself a designer, but a lot of people would look at your work and call it artwork. How do you differentiate between being an artist and being a designer? And if you do consider yourself one or the other, or one more than the other, why?
Yeah, as I said, I consider myself as a designer because I think that I think our conversation before was about how can we like how can a goal be defined, and in art, that I think we were talking about how in art you sometimes shouldn't define maybe the goal or the response to your artwork, but in design I think, especially with this kind of more experimental design where it's not about a product that ends up on a shelf in a supermarket, it's really about the idea that you design the response, you design kind of you pose a question, you make a statement, but you design that. It's a story you tell, so you kind of make it. You don't leave it up really to the audience to make up their own story. I mean, always a little bit. Everyone looks at things in a different way, but there is an inherent story that you want to tell, and I think that's where it is more design for me, at least. And I think that's also where design is heading. It's really about not really, making shapes, making kind of beautiful things as such, which I think still design is viewed as, especially product design, but actually to kind of consider it in a much wider kind of sphere, which I think art has been doing, like culturally, socially, technologically. So these kind of fields are now really important in design as well, and we're not, if we're not doing products for the shelves, I think we're just suggesting new ways, for example in my case, to produce, to manufacture. How can we do that in the future? And these are just suggestions we do.
Okay, so in the context of this performance class, I might then put the question to you, and I know your background isn't performance, but let's say, for example, someone were to create a performance, and the goal of that performance, or let's say that artist or that designer, if you will, chose to create a goal for that performance. They wanted to achieve something with that performance. And let's say it was something very abstract. Let's say they wanted to achieve a sense of elation in the audience and a sense of wonderment in themselves, or that's visceral response, that adrenaline up the spinal cord feeling. I've been told before, for example, that this is the wrong way to approach art. It's incorrect. And not that I disagree with that statement, but the question for you is if someone is, if a performer is creating a performance with a goal in mind, do you believe that makes them a designer?
That's a difficult question again. I think because of course, you can never draw a clear line between any of the fields, and I think that's what I've been trying to say as well. It's like, I'm working in between all of these fields and still consider myself a designer. So it's like,
so are you
I could have also chose another aspect, or chose to be an artist, or chose to be an inventor, which then would be more a scientist. I think that's what people have been calling me as well. So it's I could choose another one, I guess, and just focus more on one of those fields. But I think it's always, or today, it's very integrated. So we look at we consider us as one part, or kind of as a person within a field, but draw from lots of different fields. So I think that's so it's really hard to say that. But I think also for me, like, the performance generally is really important. Like in the Solar Center project, for example, it is a complete performance. It's basically I go to the desert, I paint a picture with a video, which is a performance in the end. I show the machine. It's not. I could have done a video of the machine working in a certain way, or just the machine on its own. But I chose to kind of work with the machine and dress up and kind of make it a little bit. I guess make it a dream. like kind of show a dream. And
would you say would you say that one of your goals was to make it poetic?
Yes, definitely. I wanted to tell a story and have people kind of put their dreams on top of that, and I think that worked because the object, for example, was so simple. It's just a bowl, and a bowl is symbolic, right? It's like it could be anything, and the 3D printer suggests then you can make anything because it's a 3D printer, but I would just make a bowl. So the simplicity of the object creates this kind of simple platform to dream on top. So it's like a kind of nice, it's a symbol basically, and I think then you I think the design is really to make people dream. That's the goal of that design, in this direction.
Perfect. Thank you.